أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد حقه كما يستحقه حمدا كثيرا دائما سرمدا ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين. Respected brothers, dear sisters, brothers and sisters, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Indeed, the Holy Messenger regards to these 3 months, the holy months of Rajab, Shaban, and the holy month of Ramadan. He highlights the importance of these months. Rajab, Shahrullah. Rajab, the month of Allah Al-A'zam. Shaban, Shahri. The whole month of Shaban is dedicated in honor and love of the Holy Messenger. And the month of Ramadan, the month of the Ummah to gain nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Month of Sha'ban, we recite the Salawatul Sha'baniyah every day after the Dhuhrain, the Dhuhr prayers. You ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, starting every phrase with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And then you state, وَهَذَا شَهْرُ شَعْبَانَ. This month of Sha'ban, the month of the Holy Prophet. The month whereby the Holy Prophet spent it in ta'ah of Allah, in ibadah, in obedience of Allah. Spent its nights in worship of Allah. Spent its days in mustahab fast, siyam. How much importance there is in honoring the month of Sha'ban. The month of Sha'ban has a number of important events that tonight at Al-Akbar Foundation, Hayat Shabab Al-Akbar, we've gathered to remember those who were born on the 3rd and 4th and 5th of Sha'ban. We've gathered to also prepare ourselves for the day of the 15th of Sha'ban, the birth anniversary of none other than the one that we are all waiting for. The one that we wish to all prepare and be ready and ask ourselves, are you ready for his arrival? The one that we say, Yabna al-Hasan, life without you is the greatest suffocation. Yabna al-Hasan, without you in our lives, day-to-day remembrance, for us is the greatest difficulty in our lives. And here we are, to also remember the one who was a key feature in the life of his beloved father. None other than the foundation, this foundation is named after. Indeed, 3rd of Sha'ban, we remember none other than Abi Abdullah al-Husayn, salawatullah salamu alayhi. 4th of Sha'ban, we remember Qamar Banu Hashim, Abul Fadl Abbas, that loyal figure, that leader in the warrior, that man who was a true superhero defending his beloved Imam. And on the 5th of Sha'ban, we remember none other than the jewel of worshippers, Imam Ali Zainul Abidin. And of course, in between these days, we should also remember the one who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us all in this world, wherever you are, Wherever you are, look up to one figure. Not one figure, but one individual. Whoever you are in this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, وَلَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. And indeed, for every single individual, whoever you may be, look up to Rasulullah. Rasulullah is your role model. Rasulullah is the one that you wish to be like and be like him. Follow him in his actions, in his sayings, in his akhlaq, in his ibadah. And therefore, when Imam al-Hussein had a beloved son by the name of Ali. Of course, Imam al-Hussein had a number of sons with this name Ali. And when they asked and questioned him, do you not have any other names to choose from? Every time you have a son, you call him Ali, Ali, Ali. And he would state, if I had 100 sons, or if I had 1,000 sons, I would call them Ali in honor of my father, Amir al-Mu'mineen wa Mawla al-Muttaqeen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullah wa salamu alayhi. Brothers and sisters, be honored and proud with the good names that your parents have chosen for you. Indeed, one of the rights of a son, one of the rights of a child, one of the rights of a daughter that a father and mother have upon that son and daughter is what? أَن يُحَسِّنَ إِسْمَهُ, is that they give a good name to their son, to their daughter. Be proud of that name. That name Ali, Aliul Akbar. When you look at Imam al-Hussein and how he explains to us who Ali Akbar was, he states for us, not only was he a youth, not only was he a young member, Hayat Shabab Al-Akbar, the youth of Al-Akbar. Ali Al-Akbar was in his prime youth, in the peak of his youth. But how did he spend his youth? And how are young members here today, and all of us here are young at heart, inshallah. How should we spend our youth? For indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, there are many things in our lives that are going to be a source of fitna. Your amwal, fitna. Your awlad, fitna. And we'll add sometimes the worldly dunya, distractions and fitna. Various things in your life are going to be moments of trials and tribulations upon you. And Imam states, O people, O world, O Allah, bear witness that I have a son not like any other son. Everyone's proud of their child. Everyone's proud of their beloved one. Someone that they cherish. Someone that they took time in their upbringing. But he gave us what? He gave us 3 characteristics that show for us today, brothers and sisters, what we need to strive and do in the upbringing of our sons and our daughters. Ashbahun nas. That this young member, this Ali of mine, who was he? Ashbahun nas. The one who resembled the most to who? You know, nowadays, we find people, they say, this guy, when I see him, I remember X. When I hear the way he talks, he's not like a follower of the Ahlul Bayt. He reminds me of this particular star, this particular member. In fact, is he a Muslim? The way he speaks is not like how the Muslims speak. Who's his role model? Who is he learning from? What is he seeing? What is he watching? Ashbahun nas. He was the most in resemblance. To who? Rasulik Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Number one, he resembled and looked exactly in similitude, exactly the figure that we remembered who? Rasulullah, the Holy Prophet, the Holy Messenger. The one that you, Ya Allah, said, this is Uswa Hasana. This Ali of mine, Ashbahun Nas li Rasulik. How? In three ways. Khalqan, in his looks. The way he looked, not just the physical features, but the way, for example, he would walk. He would walk the walk of Rasulullah. And you find this even when they discuss regards to Fatima to Zahra, when she would walk to the masjid, she would walk, and that walk in her full hijab reminded them of the footsteps that Rasulullah took. Ashbahun nas, khalqan, his physical features, the way he would dress himself, the way he would take care of himself. He looks like Rasulullah. Today, my dear brothers, who are we ashbahun nas khalqan lah? Who are we looking up to? When I wake up in the morning and see myself in the mirror and leave my home, who do I remind myself and remind others of? Ali Al-Akbar, ashbahun nas khalqan li Rasulillah. Number two, khulqan. Not only his looks, and sometimes looks can be deceiving, but his looks were truly the great looks of Rasulullah, the great feature of Rasulullah. That amazing look that when people would look at the face of Rasulullah, it was a form of ibadah of Allah. But also the akhlaq of Ali al-Akbar was that akhlaq of Rasulullah. That akhlaq that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, إِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Verily, Ya Rasulullah, you have the most sublime moral character. That akhlaq that Rasulullah himself would state, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I was sent down to perfect and complete mankind's morals. That akhlaq that Rasulullah himself would state, the one who is closest to me in their iman, ashbahukum, is the one who is closest to me in their akhlaq. That akhlaq that Rasulullah would remind us that good manners and morals is afdal min as-salati was-siyam, is greater in thawab and deeds than praying all night and fasting. Yes, they are good deeds, but most important is to have the best of akhlaq and morals, manners, behavior, how you speak to your friends, how you respect your parents, how you respect your teachers, how you respect your alim and scholars, how you respect one another, how you respect your spouse, how you respect your children, how you respect each other. That statement of Amir al-Mu'mineen, that Amir al-Mu'mineen would give that code of conduct. إِمَّا أَخٌ لَكَ فِي الدِّينِ أَوْ نَظِيرٌ لَكَ فِي الْخَلْقِ. Mankind, all of mankind, either they are your equal in faith, or your equal in, or either your brother in faith, or your equal in humanity. That was Ali al-Akbar. His akhlaq was that akhlaq of Rasulullah. His morals and manners reminded us of Rasulullah, khalqan wa khulqan wa mantiqa. And when he would speak, his conduct would remind us of Rasulullah. So much so that he would state, Ya Aba Abdullah, what beautiful words of reminders for us today. That he would state that, by the way, whenever we were missing Rasulullah, whenever the people of Medina nashtaqu ila Rasulillah. How many times we say nashtaq ila haram Amir al-Mu'mineen? How many times we say nashtaq ila haram Abi Abdullah al-Hussein? Nashtaq ila haram Rasulillah. We miss those shrines. Imam says, whenever we missed the face of Rasulullah, whenever we reminded ourselves of Rasulullah, nadarna ilayh, we looked at the face of Aliyul Akbar. How many times when we look at one another does it remind us of gaining nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And that's why when they asked Prophet Isa, Man nujalis, who shall we sit amongst? Because many times our young ones, brothers, sisters, they sometimes have this confusion within them. Tonight, after this majlis and gathering, who should I sit around with? Who should I hang around with? Prophet Isa gave us that litmus test. Gave us that quality characteristic. Sit amongst those yudhakiruk Allah, who reminds you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That when you sit amongst them, that majlis and gathering is majalis of dhikr of Allah. Those gatherings that Rasulullah himself would state, Badiru ila riyadil jannah. Rasulullah, he was amongst the companions. He would say, go and rush and hasten towards gardens of Jannah on earth. They said, Ya Rasulullah, where are the gardens of paradise on earth? He would state, halaqud dhikr, majalisud dhikr. Those majalis, those gatherings, those places that you have dhikr of Allah, it's a gathering of remembrance of Allah. It's a gathering of Jannah. It's a place of Jannah. Here we are in this gathering. Don't take this gathering lightly, brothers and sisters. These gatherings are majalis of dhikr of Allah. And Imam al-Sadiq salawatullah wa salamu alayhi states, dhikruna dhikr Allah wa dhikru aduwina dhikru shaitan. The remembrance of us, the Ahlul Bayt, is the remembrance of Allah, is a form of remembrance of Allah. And the remembrance of shaitan, or the remembrance of our a'da, enemies, are a form of remembrance of shaitan, the distraction from the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these gatherings for us to increase our love towards our Imam, our beloved Imam, in the same way that Aliul Akbar had that love and intense love towards his Imam of his time, towards his beloved father who was his Imam of his time. I remind myself of a poem that I learnt years ago. Wake up, O gallant Muslim youth, come forward and defend the truth. How Ali Akbar took the spear for truth, take the spear for Imam Mahdi. Today, your role as a young member, as a member of the lovers of the Imam of the time, like Ali Akbar, he took the spear and went ahead to be of those who defend the Imam and are loyal with the Imam and are full of love towards the Imam. We all have a role to show that love, loyalty, and great aspiration to be with the Imam of our time. اللهم ارزقنا توفيق الطاعة وبعد المعصية وصدق النية والسلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.